Ooh, Spencer, we got you in here. Boom. Please, IG gods, work for me, please.
All right, I can hear you now. There we
Woo!
go. My bad, man.
Woo! It's all right.
I need to hit y'all with the update. My bad. My apologies. My apologies.
You're good. You're good. Can we hit you till 6:20? Is that good? Can we got you for
Whatever.
an hour?
That's whatever. Yeah, we good.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yes, we got it on. Key, I'm still gonna take you up on that offer though, so I got you. Spencer, man, I appreciate you joining the live and even taking the time to like try to like troubleshoot, right? Some people are just like, forget it, right? I love that you're solution oriented. You like, we are going to give the people the knowledge today.
For sure. I appreciate everybody's patience too. So thank you.
I love it. I love it. So everybody, thank you for staying tuned in to Be Great, Good to Great. We're highlighting individuals in their own journey, dropping gems, speaking knowledge. Also, this is supposed to be live and interactive. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask them in the comments or the Q&A box, and I'll bring them up, right? Like, I think I'm already a curious learner, so I can ask Spencer a ton of questions, but I would like for you guys to ask questions so you guys can get specific answers on whatever you want to know. But Spencer, I know we met at SIU. Shout out to Salukis.
For sure. Salukis.
Man, we were in student government too, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
hey,
like,
the torch went from one to
one to the next. So I think that's how we really built our bond and our relationship. But I want you to introduce yourself to people who, you know, haven't seen your face before and this is their first time seeing you on live, and tell them a little bit about yourself and where you're at now and what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you having me. I think what you're doing with this platform specifically is phenomenal in so many different ways, especially taking advantage of the times that we are in. There's so many people out there that is stuck outside of, you know, health concerns, is stuck just being bored. I was one of them when this whole thing initially popped off. So just to see you being productive in such a amazing way, you know, kudos to you, definitely. Is to answer your question. So Spencer Tribble, originally born and raised Chicago, South Side. Went to high school in Harvey at Thornton. So I made the transition from Inglewood to Harvey. And then, of course, went to SIU for 4 years there and studied ag economics. So really the business aspect of agriculture, right? So from there, you know, kind of had an opportunity to learn a lot about, you know, from the business aspect, but also just investing in general, specifically, you know, in the stock market. And just seeing a lot of my peers who were 99.9% white, seeing them like just doing this second nature was like just incredible to some degree, right? But you know, coming from my neck of the woods, man, that was, you know, foreign, you know what I mean? So you know, going from there and then going off to grad school at University of Kentucky and getting my master's in ag econ, just seeing so many of my professors that were from all over the world, right? Where, you know, they driving their Honda Accords and stuff like that, but man, they all were millionaires, like hands down. And it's not from they salary, right? I mean, they was getting paid nice, you know, but it was from their investments. And, you know, a lot of different groups, especially as I started studying more about like group economics and stuff like that, man, you see so many different groups that this is something that they instill within their culture, within their people, their families, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, now I'm at a point where, you know, I've taken on the journey in entrepreneurship. I still do some management work, you know, in the daytime. But I've been able to, you know, manage around where I'm able to provide consulting work specifically in this realm, you know, working with entrepreneurs from, you know, starting a company or also, you know, building business credit, et cetera. So I'm located in Houston, Texas. Been there for about, you know,
H-Town.
Yeah, H-Town, man. So, you know, I love it. I love it.
That's awesome. And you said you're a consultant. Are you a consultant for a company or do you consult on your own?
On my own.
Man, so when did you transition into full-time entrepreneurship? That's a leap within itself before we even get on stocks.
Man, so let me see. I transitioned when I left like the ag sector. I took a leap of faith and like got a what they call it, like a basically a basic role as a for a tech company, like really just exchanging out, unboxing computers, right? PCs. I left this salary gig to go like work $19 an hour for this tech, bro. But I understood the long-term vision, right? I'm like, man, tech, if you apply yourself, if you learn, you can make bread. So within a couple months, I got promoted up and
Okay.
you, all right, I didn't know.
That
Is it
was that.
breaking up on
Yeah.
my end?
No, no, no. I just put in the AirPods. I messed it up. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, but I worked a couple tech jobs that paid me nicely. The first one I ended up leaving and literally traveling for like 6 months, spending time with my loved ones, and I didn't apply myself. I didn't take those funds I had saved up and like really invest it the right way. And guess what? 6 months later, I found myself right back in the 9 to 5 hunt. So fortunately, I was able to get another opportunity that paid me nicely. And then this time around, I took advantage of it. But really, it was just the freedom, man. I hated where if I, wanted to go see my family, I got to ask for permission, basically, or you approve my off days, et cetera, in order for me to, like, go and be there for my loved ones. You know what I mean? So it was like definitely a risk, right, worth taking. But, I love it. No regrets at all. And so
Yep.
I definitely want to help people, as many people as possible, man. Really just like be able to set themselves up so they can live like Brittany Greathouse.
Please, please, like Mrs. Spencer Tribble. When you were in Atlanta, were you doing consulting too?
Nah, not really. I was in the
Okay.
process of like still like developing my own little LLCs here and there, et cetera. But I was mainly working for a tech company.
Got you. So Turtle asked a question. So he said he was initially in ag business, but he wants you to talk about your experience with being in ag business when it was uncommon amongst your peers, right? Also, just to let y'all know, Carbondale, majority of the Black population comes from Chicago, right? And when people also think about agriculture, think about farming. When you think about farming, you do not think about African American farmers. You think about people of the Caucasian race, right? So I think that's what Turtle is insinuating, right? So like, why did you pick that?
Yeah, shout out to Turtle because he was in ag business too. But Miss Wall, so everybody at SIU, we know Miss Wall is the only sister in financial aid that has probably helped 95% of us in some form of fashion be able to maintain our student status at SIU. But when she was asking me whether I wanted to major in, I was like, oh, maybe accounting, just really lost, right? Business. And she challenged me to like consider ag business. And my response to her, to what you just mentioned, the first thing I said out of my mouth to her was, hey, I'm from Chicago. I ain't come to school to be a farmer, right? And so, she laughed, but I took her on that challenge just to even give it a shot, right? Just to go talk to a professor over there and see what they're talking about. And initially, it was discouraging. Why? Because here I am, dressing up, as much as I could, and I'm walking into an entire college white folks that got their cowboy hats on, their boots, shirt tucked in and their jeans. And I'm in the classroom like how we used to sit and what's one of them, not fainter, but I can't even remember. I feel like I've been removed from
like that clock tower building.
Yeah, but just like a big lecture hall, and I'm literally in the classroom with 200 students and like the only Black, right? And so what I started to realize was that a lot of the student population, or my peers at the time, they were from areas that Black folks were non-existent in. So I took that opportunity then to say, you know what? To your point about Chicago and St. Louis, like the Black folks being a demographic, like from those areas at Carbondale, I took the time out to say, hey, look, this is an opportunity that's bigger than myself, right? Where these people, they only judge Black folks based off of what they see in the media. So here I am, I know they probably think we about to be late all the time. We don't apply ourselves. We're going to be sitting in the back of the classroom, just going through the motions, right? So I took initiative to do the opposite of all of that. Even a few times I was late, I walk my ass straight to the front of the classroom and have a seat. right? And be engaged. But what really changed everything, because I remember the time when they used to be like, hey, get in groups, right? I used to be like that one person, like looking around like, damn, what group I'm gonna go to, right? And then we had one of my advanced finance courses, this professor, white professor by the name of Dr. Kim Harris. He's been teaching for 20 years. And we had an exam, and he like was lecturing to us because he like, man, y'all did trash, right? So he's like, hey, Spencer, I just want to let you know in front of everybody, I've been teaching since 1980, and you by far is the most mature student I've ever taught, right? So now people like looking like, what's he talking about? And then he's like, by the way, come up here and get your exam. You was the only A in the class, right?
Wow.
So what that did was, you know, I had classes with majority of them in my stats and everything else. When it was time to get into groups, like literally people just instantly just gravitated right here naturally. You know what I mean? So, and when I said something, I'm like, nah, that ain't right. Nobody questioned that shit. You know what I'm saying? So he really helped in a number of different ways to kind of help me like get comfortable and like feel like I can really belong and like play in this field, even though I'm like the only black. But really just taking advantage of the opportunity. I knew if I applied myself, based on the statistics, it's less than 1% of black people in agriculture. And that's by far the largest industry, right? So, you know, farming in general, ag in general is in black folks' DNA. But, you know, it's been stripped away from us for so long, we don't even realize it. You know what I mean? So.
I love that. And then it says, oh, Lawson Hall.
Yeah, Lawson. There we go. Lawson.
Yeah, and Jami was saying, what's up, Jami? She said, take up space.
Take up space?
Yeah, for sitting in the front.
Yeah. There we go.
So then tell me this. You talked about ag econ, right? And for people who haven't or don't have a background in economics, right? I'm basic supply and demand, right? So you're learning about economics and business are pretty much hand in hand. And I know, Spencer, if you ever want to touch on that more, you can. But I want you to talk about how you learned about stocks, right? The basic investment of stocks, and then when you traded your first stock.
Okay, good. So
or bought your first stock.
Yeah, I got you. So I think, all right, so I started off in my basic econ courses, probably like hating the shit like a lot of black students do, right? It become confusing. We probably understand it the first couple of weeks, the first exam, and then we like, hey, I'm cool with this C or whatever I get, right? So that's how I kind of felt about the whole ordeal too. But what I kind of allowed myself to do in a way, or challenged myself to do, was kind of figure out, or at least apply economics based on where I was from, right? So many of us from impoverished areas, communities, right, where, you know, there are food deserts, right, lack of access to healthy foods, you know, convenience stores, all, you know, everywhere. Basically, people are poor, right, and are struggling. And so when I looked at that, especially from more so the food desert aspect, and I was able to like, the questions I had, like, man, growing up with my grandmother, why does she always just buy us dollar, you know, McDonald's, you know, the dollar menu from McDonald's, and we basically just eating like trash this our entire life. You know what I mean? So when I started to be able to like understand that behavior, right, in which most black folks growing up in those areas apply as well, because they want to just be able to basically survive, right, to keep a food. Provide food and keep a roof over a child's head, it became like I became more fascinated with the whole ordeal of economics, right? And so then Dr. Derek Williams, he always like, it was, you know, many of us, Kwame, Byron, Ben, several of us that used to hang around Dr. D like crazy. And the reason why we did that was, one, because, you know, Dr. D provided so much mentorship, right? Especially from being able to just see a positive black male, where most of us came from, you know, our areas, we ain't see much of that, right? So he talked a lot about like stocks and 401k and just like really investing and thinking long term. And so I'm like, man, everything I've like, if I check his track record, if I take everything that he has applied or that he has taught me and I applied it, it has always worked in my favor. So when I started thinking about stocks even more, mind you, I'm already like partially in this in my classroom studies. But I think in 2017, was probably the first time I really like took full advantage of it. When I was working, you know, I had my IRA Roth accounts, Roth IRA set up, right? Where, you know, I go to Edward Jones and I, you know, put some money in my account, whatever.
And for you guys that don't know what an IRA is, it's an individual retirement account, right? So if you're with a company, you can have a 401k. And if you're not with a company and you want to get your own retirement account, you can go to like a Edward Jones, for instance, and open up an individual retirement account where you can put funds in using a financial advisor, where I think the age is 69 now, and you can only, I think, give like $6,000 a year if you're under the age of like 60. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, you know, I started doing that and taking advantage of like whatever the company matched, you know, from the 401k aspect. You know, if they was like, hey, we're going to match, you know, 5%, I made sure that 5% from my check was matched, right, with the company, because that's free money right there, right? That, you know, you don't want to let that just walk away free. You know what I'm saying?
And so you speak in facts to people. So if you have a company that has a 401k or retirement program, right, normally they match anywhere from like 3 to 6% of what you put in. So whatever your annual salary is, take whatever their match is. Let's say it's 5% of that, right? So if I make $100,000 a year and they match 5%, that means that every $5,000 a year I put in, they put an additional $5,000. So now I have $10,000 for my retirement.
Bingo. That's real. That's real. And that's definitely something I was going to make sure we touched on later on too. Because I know a lot of people that's obviously, you know, they have jobs that offer, you know, matching 401k. So really, as far as individual stock, me downloading Robinhood and getting a free stock from Robinhood, which I hope and encourage everybody will take advantage of at the end of this.
Kia was just talking about it. She said she downloaded Robinhood but doesn't know what to do with it. So man,
we're gonna talk about it.
So you started with Robinhood?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So tell me about this journey.
My first stock was Sprint, right?
Okay.
T-Mobile, which T-Mobile owns now, but my first piece of stock was Sprint, right? And so I seen that. I think it was probably like, at the time, it might have been like $6, right? So that's a free $6, right? That you already received a return on your initial investment, which was $0. It was just you just downloading the app. You know what I'm saying? So that's free money, basically, where even if you want to sell it, you're going to get that money and you can either put it in your bank account, which I don't encourage, or you can reposition, right, and put it back out into a better stock, right? So I used Sprint. I received Sprint, and then I kind of fell off, right? Like, I was kind of content with that. Like, what I'm going to do with this, you know, because I was still in the process of, like, really applying that knowledge that, you know, I've been, like, educating myself on, right? And so I kind of fell off a little bit, and then, you know, I thought about it, and I had someone in my family that passed away, and I see how we had to do like a GoFundMe to raise proceeds to be able to bury them. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have no life insurance and stuff like that. And so when I thought about it, I said, man, there's many Black families out here that's in this same position, right? And of course, the answer to that could be life insurance, right? But should be life insurance. But the fact that many Black families do not even practice the idea of long-term, just investing in general, but like long-term, like the mentality of to think about 10 years down the road, right? You know, I think about like Beyonce, right? Beyonce, she made $30 million off of Uber. But initially, they brought her in to pay her probably like $100,000. I don't even remember the exact numbers, but $100,000.
It was low.
It was low. $100,000 to perform to the Uber staff or something like that. I don't remember the exact story. But she turned down the $100,000 and said, "Just give me the share. Just give me the shares in the company." And ended up making $30 million. Whereas most people thinking about instant gratification, where it's like, nah, I'll take that $100,000 right now. Right? So my journey kind of was just like, it was inconsistent as hell. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with everybody. It was super inconsistent. And like, and I want to make sure that that's clear, because it's not like I just started once and then I just stay super consistent and boom, boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
boom. Nah, like, you know, not having a job before and just like being on tough times, like I know what that feeling feels like. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So shit don't feel good, right? And especially right now, in a time like this where many people did not predict that they would be unemployed. But think about how many of those people don't have no extra income, no streams of income coming in, no long-term savings, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Where they
Right.
like really in a tough situation where now they need the government to really like come through for them. I ain't want to be in that position no more. So when I thought about loans, you know, the stock market is going, it's bound, like historically over over the history of the stock market, it has shown that if you diversify the right way, which we're going to talk about, you guaranteed to make a return on your money.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, really, that was, I mean, my journey just was kind of up and down. But now when I, you know, it was a couple things that transpired just amongst my individual family. I was like, man, I got to get this stuff together. You know what I mean? So if I'm gonna be out here talking about and preaching to folks, you know, supporting Black-owned businesses and Black economics, you got to be living that yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's where I'm at with it.
And I want you to talk about what you're doing now. We can start breaking down, right? So just to let you guys know, basic terminology, right? I think if you don't know anything, ask the question, right? Raise your hand. Raising your hand doesn't mean that you're inferior, right? Like I don't know everything, but if you ask questions to know, then you'll be more knowledgeable, right? So a stock is ownership or a share of ownership in a company. And something that you can get, you can trade on different platforms, and also there's different markets like the Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500, right? Standard and Poor. I think that's what it's, Standard and Poor 500.
Yeah, Standard and Poor 500.
But I want you to talk about, Spencer, right? So now when we had a call the other day, you told me, you're like, hey, Brittany, I have these investment seminars, right? Hop on Zoom with me. And it's me and a couple people. We talk about how to invest. And I don't know if you talk about what to invest in, but maybe you talk about the basic terminology of stocks and what to invest. So can you tell people that are on the live right now, right? Like what you do in those Zoom calls. So I think that's so great. What I was bringing up before is that there's a lot of people who are saying, hey, marketing, pay $100, pay $300, get in my group chat, right? You can learn what stocks to buy now, but it's more about knowledge, trusting the network that you're with, and sharing the knowledge, right? And I think that's what you're about. It's not about money. You know the money is going to come. It's about sharing. So I want you to talk about that Zoom call and how that came about too.
Yeah. So the Zoom, the platform, right? Real Talk, Real Matters is actually what it's called. It's not a platform that I even started, right? It's a group of Black professionals in various industries, right? Where we kind of Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. we actually talk about a list of different topics. On Mondays we try to focus more so on the professional aspect, and then Wednesday is more so like personal development, which go hand in hand in a number of different ways. The particular call that you're referring to, I did a stock investing one-on-one, right? Which is my aim. My focus is to really get more of us, our people, to understand, right? Even the jargon, to understand how the stock market works, and even where to begin so that they can start investing, right? So I took the time to kind of lead that platform that specific day, which actually on this upcoming Monday, we're going to talk about the actual different platforms that you can utilize and break those down in terms of how they work, the benefits of them, etc. Me personally, I host one-on-one sessions where I consult with you for an hour and answer your questions, you know, break down the basics, whatever. And it's all donation based. It ain't no hourly charge. It's none of that. Like if you want to donate something, cool, right? But if you don't, I'm still here to help you. You know what I mean? At least if you feel like you gain something from it, just tell somebody else, like, hey, you want to learn about the stock, whatever. Hey, Spence, you know, he can help you out, whatever it may be. But in general, the platform is used to, you know, really just kind of, you know, build with other Black professionals, other Black people from all over the country, and you know, help each other build, man, because you got several different entrepreneurs in there, people that are working professionals, whatever it may be, that have a ton of different knowledge. And you never know, especially if you are an entrepreneur, you might meet somebody that specializes in marketing, right? Where now that's an opportunity to break bread and help upscale your business. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, my one-on-one sessions, people can literally just reach out to me via social media, because that's where most of my meetings even, like, the connections even happen at. So, I'll break down the schedule of the days. You let me know what works for you, and we can chop it up.
And that's at Spence Trib, SPENCETRIBB. So we got a lot of questions, right? And so I want to address those as we keep going on.
Cool.
They're saying how like stocks are complex, right? And
Yeah.
Darissa brought up, can we go back to Robinhood for a second? So it seems like there was a lot of comments about how to use it and how to make stocks grow. So I want you to talk about what Robinhood is, why people trade on Robinhood, and how do you use Robinhood, and just maybe very briefly, so we can just keep going to other topics.
Cool. All right. So Robinhood is a app that you use specifically on your device, right? Your phone, that allow you to buy individual stocks. It also allow you to buy fractional shares within companies. So let's use Amazon, for example. Amazon is probably about 2,300, almost 2,400 right now a share. A lot of people ain't got the type of money. However, they allow you, if you want to put $10 in, right? As long as Amazon grows, that $10 is going to grow in some form of fashion. It ain't going to grow as quickly as 2,300 will, but the point is to make your money grow, right? So the beautiful thing that I think a lot of people enjoy about Robinhood is, one, if you download it from a friend that already has it, you get a free stock and they get another stock, right? So again, that's already receiving a return on your initial investment, which is really you just downloading the app and making an account, which is free. But it is super user friendly. That's what I appreciate most about it, and why I recommend a lot of newbies to use it. The interface is phenomenal, and the breakdown of the news, right? So let's understand that the stock market, right, a company's particular stock is impacted off of news and announcements, right? So if you guys remember when like Delta had their fair share, and maybe another airline, I can't remember, pulling people off the plane, dragging people off the plane, the incident with the doctor, whatever it may be, it dropped a little bit at that time because that was considered bad news. And what bad news do is it instills, fear or panic into people that have their money invested in it and they pull it out, right? And so how you gain from that, if you don't already have a share in that company, is the stock is dropping or it has dropped. So now you buy it at a lower price and you make a return when it goes back up.
And that's kind of what Spencer is talking about, right? So that stocks are volatile, right? That's why people can't say, okay, Spencer, if you give me 10 grand, I promise you I'll give you 20 or 11 grand more tomorrow, because stocks are volatile based off of different factors, based off if you listen to the earnings call and the company's not doing well, if they have a shift in their CEO and people don't trust that leader is going to bring them, right? If you don't identify with their values, or like you said, right, you had when Uber had an incident with their CEO and different things going on, right, their stock went down a lot. Or if you guys think about Facebook, I think when I was in college, that's when Facebook was supposed to IPO and it plummeted horribly, right? And I know you can talk about doing the history of that.
Now that thing like 211, right? I got Facebook stock, so I'm all smiles. You know what I'm saying? But that thing, but a lot of like even I don't know what Snapchat said that, but that was one of the biggest mistakes I feel like I made. Soon as Snapchat hit the market, I jumped on the bandwagon, and it was like at $29, man. The next day, that shit was like $14.
You win some.
I'm selling this shit,
and you lose some. And I want you to go back to like basics of investing, right? So you talk about buying low, selling high. Can you just talk about what that means?
Yeah. So all right. So I don't know. I'm sure people out there that have probably even just took the time out to look at stock on a very basic level. You have terms out there like bearish markets, bullish markets. that I think confuses a lot of people, because people within that industry, they, like any industry, they want to use these fancy terminologies that don't really mean much of nothing, right? And so bearish, right, just means that a stock is decreasing in price at a rapid pace, right? So let's just say, you see that United is probably like $25 right now, somewhere around there. See, United is $25, right? And then you look 2 hours later, and that shit down to 20, and then maybe 19, 18. Like that would be considered bullish, because it's decreasing in value, right? At a rapid pace. So that'd be a stock that you really want to pay attention to, depending on what type of market it's in, right? Because every stock I wouldn't encourage just because it's low to buy it, right? Whereas bullish is the exact opposite, right? Where it's increasing at a rapid pace. So you might see a stock that's, let's use Tesla, for example, right? When this whole pandemic hit, I think Tesla was at like 400. That thing at like $779 right now. Now, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying Tesla is like the end and be all, like you should go jump on Tesla, and it's going to take you to the promised land 10 years from now, because they 5-year plan or their financial statement, it don't show me nothing yet. So, but I'm just using that as an example of like what a bullish stock would look like, right?
Right.
And so, go ahead.
I'm saying they use the bull and the bear too to describe like the attributes of investing, right? So like a bear market is when the market is receding and it's going down, and a bull market is when, the market is on the rise, right? So if you guys ever go to New York, right, or go down Wall Street, and in the financial district, they have a big thing of a bull, and I think next to it they have a bear. But that's why that bull is there, right? It's to just indicate the bull market and the bear market.
Right.
And what Spencer's saying, right, is you want to buy stocks when they're low, because if you buy it at $10 and then that stock goes to $20, then you just made money, right? But if you bought high and you sold low, you just lost money. So I mean, stocks can go either way.
Right.
And can you talk about also like how would you find a stock? Like what's a stock ticker?
How would you find a stock?
Like what is a stock? How would you find a stock? If I were to look up Netflix on Robinhood, how do I look it up?
Oh, so, well, typically, most companies, most apps, I should say, would require you to kind of like use a stock, to put this actual stock symbol in. I think now, because I use mainly Fidelity, you kind of just type in the company's name, right? But I don't know if every app out there has that same type of flexibility. I would imagine that they would at this point. But then again, I don't know. But what I will tell you is this. Google is your best friend, right? Google is the biggest university out there in the world, right? So if you don't know, just Google, right? That's what you might have another suggestion for them, but I'm real just like basic to the point like that. Yeah.
And Darissa also put, and this is a great point, Darissa, that bears claw down and bulls buck upward. So that's a good way to recognize whether it's a bullish market or a bearish market. I think that's awesome analogy to bring.
With the jewels, okay.
I know, I love it. And so I don't know how deep or where we should go, Spencer. So I'm gonna let you kind of go to this, right? Because I want to touch on like if a company goes public and they're trading, it's called an IPO. Right. I wonder, do you want to do? Maybe we can do a giveaway for your stock if anybody knows what that means.
What an IPO means?
Yeah, if anybody in the comments can write what IPO stands for.
I mean, if that's what you want. Hey, that's the first giveaway. We can do that.
Nah, I mean, I'm just getting it started, but I feel like you can do whatever you want your giveaways to be.
All right, so
this is on you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so let me before we get there, let me ask if anybody know what the person that can answer this question, right? Because I want to make sure people understand this. What's the purpose of an index as it pertains to stocks?
Oh man. Okay.
Is that too difficult?
I don't know. It can be. It could be.
Do anybody know what what about blue chip stock? What's considered a blue chip stock?
Okay.
No?
Maybe.
Nah, here it go,
And
right here.
and yeah, I'm talking B is right. IPO is initial public offering. If somebody's starting to go on the market, they do IPO. But go ahead, Spencer.
Okay.
So
All
Tony
right.
the Talker said measurements.
Who said that?
My mom,
Measurements
she
as
put
far as what?
measurements.
As far as the index? As far as the index? Okay, I mean, no, that's actually measurements in what way? Like, what does that mean?
Please
Because,
expand. Yeah, you're saying please expand.
because the index, as it pertains to stocks, it's tracking. It's a tracker for like market performance, right? For certain companies. So that's the difference between so you got the index funds of the S&P 500, right? Standard and Poor's 500. So if you typically would look at like Robinhood or something, you'll probably see the Nasdaq, S&P 500, and DJIA, Dow Jones Industrial Average, right? So you got three different index trackers, right? Well, the Nasdaq kind of focuses more on like 3,000 and something different companies. That's more so pertaining to like tech. You got some that's healthcare, whereas you have the S&P 500 that's focused on the Fortune 500, right? 500 of America's largest performing companies, right? And so it gives you like a piece of the pie basically, and allow you to like analyze what that market is looking like, right? Whereas the Dow Jones industrial average, that's more so focused on blue chip stocks. So blue chip is
We
30.
gotta wait. We gotta. I'm about to say we gotta answer this as a stock worth 10 billion or more. Blue chip, large cap stocks.
If it's worth more than if it's 10 billion or more.
That's what he put. And then Dave Max said large cap stocks.
Yeah, so they large cap, which is true. But they also have a strong reputation for cash flow, right? So potentially paying dividends, right? Because only the largest companies for real can afford to pay dividends for the most part. And then just maintaining like a strong balance sheet, right? So that's important, especially right now, because a lot of people like asking like, man, what should I buy right now? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like racking up. You know what I'm saying? I know other people out there that's racking up because you kind of know what to look for. You know what I mean? So I do want to touch on that as well, right? Because I want to give people something to take away from that.
On what to look for?
Yeah, like right now, right now.
And I think before we even go because I want to make sure we keep this not too deep, right?
Yeah,
so we got a question too that said, what amount of money would you recommend someone just starting out to invest, or maybe and then the second part is to get the most return. But what would you say somebody needs to start out?
I say do what makes sense based on your financial situation, right? So me and a couple of my homies, we talk about this all the time, right? Or have in the past, as of last week, right? So a lot of times we hear people tell us to like build an emergency fund, right? Which an emergency fund is important. But a lot of times say, hey, build a 3 to 6 month or, 6 to 12 months, something like that. So emergency fund for people out there is, obviously in case you lose your job, don't have no income coming in, whatever. Each month you have enough. If you save for 3 months, 3 months should be able to pay. For each month should be able to pay your liabilities, basically, right? Your bills, etc., whatever you may have, right? So, and help you get by. What some of people, myself included, what a couple of us do is, and for the record, before I kind of get started into it, I teach a lot of. I'm a Warren Buffett fan. Warren Buffett to me is the GOAT of investing, right? It's stock market investing, right? His company alone, Berkshire's, before the crisis hit, is $340K a share.
A share, right? Yeah.
So
buy one share.
One share, $340K, right? So it lets you know that man doing something right? But he's very traditional, and his focus about longevity is saying, hey, you should not buy a piece of stock if you don't plan on holding that stock for at least 10 years, right? Because every 10 years, we bound to hit some type of bubble, right? Recession, crisis, something of that magnitude where, okay, in 10 years, and you don't have to necessarily hold, I wouldn't say necessarily hold it for 10 years, but close enough to that time frame, you can sell it and reposition yourself within a different company or something like that, right? So, as it pertains to, what was the question again? Okay.
See, Spencer, you going too deep. You going too deep.
No, but I want
You
people to
going too deep.
understand. I need people to understand, like, the whole idea of, like, oh, how much would I recommend for them to spend, right? So do what makes sense for you, right? Me personally, I don't keep a lot of money in my savings. You know, I keep enough, right, that I feel like is decent, but I put most of my bread out into the market. Why? Because the longer you sit money in your bank account, the more money that you lose, right?
Right.
And when I say lose, I mean in that because it's not growing, you're not making anything, right? So let's use American Airlines. I have bought American Airlines at $10, right? And it's funny because I was Kwame was we got a group chat that we in. And, you know, we talking about the airline industry. And I was like, yeah, you know, I cop Delta, United, you know, just went crazy on those. And we was telling other people to do the same. And American Airlines is like, yeah, man, I don't know how I feel about that. And me personally, I'm not like a short-term type of investor, right? I'm not on no day trading type of ordeal where I'm just trying to make some quick money, da-da-da. Like, I don't do that. But when he said that, it kind of like made me think about it from a different perspective. I'm like, yeah, man, maybe I need to. And then an article came out, and it was like, hey, Delta and Southwest are the strongest airline companies in this given moment as far as where they're positioned at and be able to withstand this whole ordeal. So it went up to $12.50, and I sold it, right? But think about it. That's a That's a $2.50 profit per share. Right?
Yep.
And let's just say you had one share, right? Let's just say it was $10. You only bought one and you had $10. And you sold it at $12.50, right? And you made $2.50. Keep that same $10 in your savings account. How long would it take for that $10 to grow to $12.50? It was years. You know what I'm saying? Like years. And we ain't even gonna talk about inflation and all of that, but years, right? So do what makes sense for you, right? But be smart, right? And when I say be smart, that means making sure that you first of all, diversifying it, right? Just meaning that don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So instead of buying 20 shares of Delta, maybe buy a couple in Delta, put some, you know, in United or Southwest, put some, you know, in a whole nother industry, etc. So in case that one of them companies actually hit rock bottom, them other companies might be able to leverage up, you know, or bull his way up, right? And you could probably still make some bread. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to just like get out here and be like, let me buy this, buy that, whatever, and just be like, I'm investing. Nah. You want to be smart about it because a lot of like those $5 stocks and under, considered penny stocks. A lot of them, so it's every blue moon, one of them, you know, come out the woodworks a few years from now, like make you some bread. But a lot of those ain't gonna do nothing for you.
So what should beginners do, right? If they have a Robinhood account, right? So let's say I just started Robinhood, I signed up, I got my free stock. Since you signed me up, you got your free stocks. We both got extra $3, $4. Now I downloaded it, right? Like, but I don't know what to do. I don't have a background in business or finance.
Right.
What do I do now? If I sign up with your one-on-one, right? Or if I try to research a stock, do I just stock pick on my own? Like, what do I do?
So, all right. So look, this is the question that I ask everybody right now to ask themselves, right? As you thinking about where should I get a stock is COVID-19 or not, what will not change, right? We know whether it's a crisis or not, Wi-Fi still going to be here, right? We know crisis or not, there's still going to be an airline industry. Now it will, but what companies will still be there is a
We don't know.
different question. But that's too big of a component of like our global transportation for them to just let the airline industry just die altogether, right?
Okay.
Freight, right? We know freight's not going anywhere, right? We know aspects of telecommunications not going nowhere, right? So you kind of, we know food ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you kind of, when you ask yourself that question, and then you can kind of like just pay attention to what's going on around you, it helps you be able to like start off thinking about certain companies within those respective fields that you like, all right, let me look at some telecommunication. Oh, Verizon, and Verizon got a strong, balance sheet as far as like just having cash right now, right? And I say
so having an investment strategy.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So you want to think about, hey, what company will still, first off, be able to make it through this crisis, right? We don't know how long it'll be, but they got some bread without even worried about the government, right? Because we know the government going to bail some people out, but they want to be able to withstand at least almost a year without the government's assistance, right? So think about companies like that. Think about the type of industry that they are in, right? You know, if you're thinking about retail, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest with you, unless it's like a Costco, Walmart, Amazon, something like that. But the retail industry gonna take a massive hit.
I have no comment. That's my background, so I'm not gonna release any insider trading on this call.
I'm just telling you, listen.
No, people are pivoting, man. But retail is taking a hit, and health is on the rise. So that's a great thing.
Pharmaceutical, the healthcare companies, they definitely gonna. Oil is even gonna be back. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm glancing over here, and I'm like looking at like, cause I watched even though the market's closed right now, and literally, I promise you.
Wait. I think people don't know about that. When is the market open? What's trading times?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. The market is open Monday through Friday, 9:30 Eastern time, right? To 4 p.m. Eastern time. And unless it's like a holiday, Good Friday or something like that, then it won't be open. But, on the weekends, it's not available to any of us.
So you're telling me that if I buy a stock, I can't buy a stock at 6 p.m.?
Absolutely, that's what I'm telling you. Correct.
So you say I can't buy that stock?
No, you can't buy that stock. Yeah.
So then if I want to execute an order on Robinhood, can I make the order at 6 p.m. and then it'll happen the next day?
Correct. You can make the order at whatever time, and as long as the next business day, right, it'll execute at whatever market order,
Do you think that's smart?
Yeah, I do it all the time. If I'm a just jump straight into the market and be like, oh, let me buy this. I see that this company is at a discount price. Even if it's gonna go down like an hour later, I don't care because I'm like, hey, all right, I missed out. I could have got it at $17 and I bought it at $18, but I know this bad boy going back up regardless. I'm not tripping over $1 difference. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, if it went down to $8 and I bought it at $18, well, I already lost some bread, big time, depending on how many shares I bought. You know what I mean? So,
Spencer, we only have a minute on this one. I'm about to exit so we can come back in, and then let's do another 20 minutes and then wrap up.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, cool. How do you want to take advantage of this last, let's say, 20 minutes? You also didn't give out the giveaways yet.
We could probably talk about, answer questions, of course. And then, probably talk about certain companies that I find very, very beneficial to, take a look at right now. And whatever else. You know what I'm saying? I know we got 20 minutes. I know it's going to fly on us.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, if you guys are feeling like this is too deep, too, feel free to just put something in the chat and be like, y'all, like,
because
that's the main thing, right? We want to make sure that these are things that are understandable, and we're not going too deep down the rabbit hole. So you talk about stocks and investing, I know some type of terminology is just like you start to zone out, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about what advice would you give to people who want to invest, right? And you were saying like having an investment strategy. You were saying, I think what your vision is, and I know everybody has different ones, but you're looking at like long term, right? What's a long term stock strategy? Even if long term is like a month from now or whenever quarantine ends, and you looked at essential businesses, right? Essential businesses that were still going to be here post coronavirus. What other investment tips would you give to first time investors?
Well, first and foremost, just think about like products that you use, right? Like
Right.
where places that you shop at. You know what I mean? And I got a aunt that she loves the hell out of like Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, if you're gonna drink that all the time, at least like buy at least a share of stock in it, right? Because you got to think about buying stock as like buying a business, buying a company, because you are buying ownership into that, right? So even if it's one share, 0.0000 whatever, that is still ownership that you have. All right, so think about, at least make that investment into something that you own, right? It's no different if like this hoodie I'm wearing, Sophisticated Trap, by the way, it's my brother Tony Cartel, but black owned. But be no different if like this was mine, right? My actual brand. And, obviously I'm gonna make sure that I rock my own stuff, right? Because I'm a walking billboard. You know what I mean? So people be like, oh man, we get that hoodie from blah blah blah. Hey, holler at me, man. This is my website, whatever. It's no different. Except these companies, a lot of them already have that recognition, right? They already have that brand that people can just like, they already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of having that like that thought process behind it of like, man, what do I use? What do I personally use that, every day, right? Or that's in my closet nonstop, right? So people that got Nike everything, buy some stock in Nike.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's typically like the first thing I kind of like tell people to like just thought as far as having them actually think to like, man, think about what I use. What do I personally use, right? So.
And then we also got a question. I guess I can address this. So it came up twice, right? What's the difference between, you talked about retirement earlier, right? So a traditional against like a Roth IRA. So we talked about an IRA is an individual retirement account, and then a 401k is one with your company. Now, there's different investment mixes within there, or different ways to pick your retirement account. You can do a pre-tax, traditional, or you can go Roth. And pre-tax is where you're paying the taxes later on the money that you're investing. So let's say I invest $500 a month into my retirement account. That means that I'm investing a full $500 every month, and I don't have to pay any tax when I withdraw it until I hit 69 or whatever. And once I take it out, I pay a certain tax rate. Roth is where you're paying the taxes now, so that when your money is at that lump sum later on based off of compounding, which based off of having a long time horizon, then you don't have to take any money out later on. So one, you're kind of betting on you'll make more money now against making more money in the long term. You can also choose like 50-50 and do different splits how you want to. But there's a few ways that you can invest in that. And then within your retirement account, you can invest in stocks and bonds, in mutual funds. And sometimes I have robo advisors too, online advisors that can help balance your portfolio. I don't know if that was too much or whatever, but that's at least for me what I think about when I think of traditional and Roth. What about you?
But that's exactly what it is. I don't know how deep it was though. It might have been a little deep. No, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything different I would necessarily break down from it. I think from that though is to kind of understand like the index funds, right? Where a lot of those accounts you are it's being invested into a mutual fund, right? Where really what that is a diversified portfolio of a particular industry a set of companies, etc. Right. So one app that I like to recommend for people to use is Stash, right? So Stash, right? Stash. So um, that app specifically specifies like its purpose is to invest strictly in like mutual funds, right? So when you get on it, let's just say, hey, I want to invest in the airline industry, right? It'll give you a breakdown of all the companies that's included in that portfolio. Oh, United, Delta, Southwest, Spirit, et cetera, et cetera. And when you put a $10 in, $100 in, it takes a percentage of that $100 and break it up into each of those companies. So it's like, and that's the safest way to mitigate the risk. And when it comes to the stock market, right, is investing in mutual in some form of index fund. So the wealthy right now, they have a lot of them, right? They've repositioned some of it. They've also made sure they have cash on deck so they can buy up, other companies. And then they also heavy in the real estate market because they know, the housing market is on the way down, where they're going to take advantage of that as well. But a lot of them feel really comfortable about like index funds, right? Because you're not worried about really losing too much bread, if any at all, in any time period. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind as well. That's the best way to, like I said, minimize any type of risk that you might be worried about within the market.
Got it. What else do you touch on your one-on-one calls during Zoom when you talk about stocks?
Let's see. Really just breaking down as much of the basics as I possibly can, because I want to make sure that people understand. Like I want the everyday person to like understand, right? I know Black folks, man, we got a certain, lingo, the whole nine. Just did, where we got our street talk, whatever it may be. I want the everyday person to really like have a full breakdown and understanding of it, right? So they could probably even take it back and be able to like tell these people like, hey, this is what the stock market really is. You know what I mean? And folks really take advantage of that. A lot of times, people like, even if I'm talking, I don't care what level of like status people are at, I have the same angle with everybody, right? Because if you don't understand the basics, then you still just like you're in the same place almost. You know what I mean? And the last thing I want anybody to do is kind of just to like go fall out on their face, especially in this market. You know what I mean? So, and then also helping them just analyze different companies. Now, I don't personally tell a person like, hey, make sure you buy Facebook or you need to buy Facebook. Like, I ain't licensed to be out here managing people's funds for them, right? But I let people know what I look at, right? And I let them know, hey, this is what works for my portfolio, right? But I don't, compare that to like what somebody else's funds might look like. You know what I mean? But instead, I kind of just give them more so a breakdown of certain industries where if a stock is too much for them, okay, well maybe I can afford to buy, Verizon at $60. You know what I'm saying? And they win either way. So yeah, just kind of mix and really just answer questions, because some people they have follow-up meetings. So all right, I downloaded Robinhood. All right, now I got more questions, and then kind of go from there. So,
God, I'm trying to put this down here so I put your Instagram in there. All right, run out of time. How do you want to do these giveaways, man?
And this, I mean, it's really just I want people that are like new, like newbies, to like really answer this stuff. Not people that's already in the market and they like, oh, all right, let me go ahead and answer this question so they get it. Cause I want what we're doing is you answer a question. We're gonna give two people, right? Actually, you know what? Since we had technical difficulties, we're gonna do 4 people. All right,
okay.
Because people was patient enough to like still hang around and like work with me really, because I was a problem. So instead of 40, we're gonna make it 80, right? So I'm gonna give 4 people $20 to get started, right? To invest with, right? So meaning that I think on on the Zoom call that you referred to before, somebody actually won $60, and she took that $60, which what the plan was, and she took that and she put it into Robinhood and bought her first shares of stock with it, in addition to the stock that came, the free stock she got. But now she's seeing like that money grow. My purpose, my full genuine intent, is to get more of us Black folks to really think about investing and long-term thinking. That's it. I just want to see us win on so many different levels. And this is one way we need to take advantage of, because every other group do it. So if you are a newbie, somebody that ain't already heavy in the market, please, please, please allow somebody else to, like, take advantage of this opportunity.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask 2 questions, and then I'll let you ask 2 questions that you feel like we covered or somebody should have an understanding of. All right, so I'm going to just start off real basic. And I guess you can keep eyes on the first person to answer it, but what is considered a bullish market? So I guess you can keep tabs, and then we can they can actually hit me up on IG, Spence Trib, and we'll go from there.
Market that's on the rise. I would agree.
Yeah, sounds good. Bingo.
You won. Okay, let me write that down. So I'll write down your IG and just DM Spencer and let him know that you won.
Make sure
get you started investing.
I can't just fall for the okie doke. Like, oh yeah, I won. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Now, go ahead and give another one.
I'm gonna let you go, and then we can go back to back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. Let me think about it. Ooh, okay, got you. Name one of the things that Spencer talked about that's not going anywhere. One industry that he spoke about that you should probably invest in because it's probably not going anywhere anytime soon.
That's cool. Damn, I didn't even think of that shit.
Yep. So Darissa, Janisha, Danny got it. Yeah. So who would you consider? Would you consider them newbies?
Who? Well, I consider who?
We got Janisha and Darissa in here. I know they were in your call, but can they still answer? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool. So, they both won.
We got oil, healthcare, and Wi-Fi. We got global transportation, oil, airlines. Darissa put oil first though.
Okay. So what was the one after oil?
Janisha put healthcare, and then we got Wi-Fi.
Okay. And who
It's
put
your
Wi-Fi?
giver.
Who put Wi-Fi?
Well, the IG is Miss Danny Baby.
Okay. So Miss Danny Baby, she'll be the winner.
Okay.
Them other 2, they not newbies.
Darissa, Janisha, y'all experts, huh? Y'all gotta teach me something.
They ain't experts, but I will say,
you never know.
They making some major progress. Like they still in their initial steps, but they taking progress. I mean, making progress.
Okay, airlines. He said, Darissa, Janisha's not a newbie. Trying to type so fast, spelling stuff wrong. I bow out. Okay, cool. All right, so Danny got that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, your turn, Spencer.
Man, that was a good question. What was the damn, probably too close to the last one you asked. But I'm going to just keep it basic because it's my goal. It's my angle. So
Okay.
hopefully people predicted this one coming. What's considered a bearish market?
A bearish market. Okay.
That's how easy I want people to win this, man. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it
That's
simple.
how.
Nah, I want people to
Okay.
win out here, man.
We all can.
All can.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm talking B. Got that right.
Who that?
He put down when the market goes down.
Sounds good. All right, you got
Cool.
the last.
I'm trying to think of which one. You know what? This is what I'll do because I'll see if they were listening to you. Who did Spencer say was one of, let's say, the mentors or someone who's been trading stocks for a long time? He's an older guy. Been trading stocks for a long, long time. Not at SIU.
Not SIU. Yeah, I get it.
No, someone that everyone knows. He's been trading stocks for a while. He has books out actually on trading.
That I said I follow.
Yeah, and you follow.
Principles I teach to folks.
Yeah. Yep, Dursa got that one. X. Yeah. Tony the Talker. XDB. Boom. So who you got? We giving that to Dursa. We giving that to so we have Dursa said that, Danny said it, then my mom said it, then someone said XDBX said it.
Your mom said it.
Yeah, she did. She is not. I don't even think I don't know if she's investing in stocks. I would say no, but
I mean, hey, if she wants to, hey, we get it taken care of. So it was them three.
Yep, and then someone else after said XDBX. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what your name is, but that was the Instagram handle.
Keep your money, Spence. Give it to. The rest of won $60 from us.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I mean, like from last week, like.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's because Darissa's learning. She's keeping it all in. Let's give it to this XDBX person.
Okay.
DBX.
Darissa, Janisha, hey, I got y'all. Don't worry, man. I just want to make sure we allow some other people to get some too. I got y'all though.
I appreciate that. And so that you're doing this giveaway, right? That's awesome. So Danny, Curls and Pearls, yeah, I'm talking B, and XDVX, y'all won the giveaway. I'll send Spencer y'all usernames, but just DM him that y'all won to get him started, or to get y'all started, and I'm sure you're gonna do like the one-on-one calls to get them started with the stocks.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I like to round out these lives, right, with saying who's being great in your life. So who is influencing you, pushing you to be successful, or who do you see just like doing awesome right now? It's not just one person too. You can say whoever you want.
For sure. So just right off the bat, man, I'm very, and just even like since undergrad, I've been extremely blessed to like keep a very just influential circle around me. And that goes from, and these are people, if you went to SIU, I mean, most people probably like Byron Madison, Kwame, Quincy, Shelton. You know, we got some other homies in addition that's been added to the crew since then. But just some mentees. But in general, we all, like Brian Nelson, we all beat Brian Haggard, you know. So if y'all tomorrow, him and Darissa, hosting a SIU party via Zoom, so make sure y'all tune into that. But we just hold each other accountable, right? And then on top of that, we able to put each other up on game. You know, we can critically, we could critique each other. Like, so if I got something that I want to, like, I'm working on, I can drop it in the group and they're going to give me their honest feedback, right? Even if it ain't shit I want to hear, it's like, all right, I know they ain't going to lie to me, right? They just challenge me to think outside the box and make this thing better. You know what I mean? And so they all individually doing their own thing. But in general, you just want to make sure you're keeping people that's like-minded around you. And the fact that, you know, have that on an everyday basis where we can also turn up, right, and kick it and talk about other things as well when it comes down to business and to, like, things that's going on in the world right now. Like, we can have those conversations and challenge each other to critically think in so many ways and agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, those are people around me that on an everyday basis that just keep me, like, going forward.
I love that. And I know you talked about it just now, but if anybody's on the line that went to SIU, Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, Darissa on here, I'll actually tag her, her DM or her IG. She's having a Zoom call tomorrow for people who went to SIU. It's kind of like a reunion type thing. I think, right? It's gonna be kicking it, hanging out, talking about old memories. Maybe I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be lit tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
So
make sure you bring
definitely
your drinks, all that good stuff, man. Just have a good time virtually, man. You know.
Exactly. And Spencer, I appreciate you coming on the live, and I know it's been technical difficulties, but I appreciate you staying alive for the full hour, talking about stocks, breaking things down, and also offering people to yeah, no, I don't mean to pin that comment, but
Keep your money, Spence.
Oh man. Spence, I'll pin your IG, but I appreciate you for real for coming on, talking to people about stocks, about your background, about your story and your journey, right? So if anybody wants to reach out to Spencer, please DM him, get the one-on-ones. As he said in the past live that we did right before it kind of cut out, he said he's doing free one-on-ones for people who want to know about stock, and he takes donations, right? So please DM him, contact him to get in touch and to get more and to get knowledgeable and to learn. And Spencer, I really appreciate having you on here and even just reconnecting with you. It's dope.
Hey, for sure. The feeling is definitely mutual, man. You probably one of the dopest people I know on this earth. And BG for president always, man. I appreciate the opportunity. For sure.
Of course.
I say it all the time, and I mean that shit, for real.
You mean it?
Yeah, BG for president, man. We got to do it.
Oh, my gosh. Not in the next 4 years, but maybe in the future.
Hey, right after Kanye, man. Kanye say he got 2024, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anybody is gonna, illuminate some change in the world. I love it. I love it. Because we definitely need some change from right now. But I will save this live. I'm gonna edit it a little bit from our difficulties, and I'll edit on YouTube. And then if you want to do anything after for people, is there any other way that they can connect with you?
Literally, you can, unless you already got me as a friend on Facebook or whatever, hit me up on social media. If you got my number, then obviously that's cool too. But I literally, like, if you want to meet, be serious about meeting, and I'm going to send you a Zoom invite, because that's how I hold all my meetings right now. And let's make something happen. So I don't care if it's on the weekend, whatever it is, I ain't never too busy to really take somebody up on, improving themselves. You know what I mean? So thanks, BG. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Of course. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.